We are joined by world #1 Scottie Scheffler. Scottie, a lot has transpired over the last 48 hours. Just talk us through kind of getting here and what your prep has been like.
Yeah, we finished up in Columbus on Sunday, and then did all the stuff afterwards, and flew in. Ended up having to fly into Fayetteville, I think, and drive an hour over here, and yeah, made it in pretty late Sunday night, and then came out yesterday afternoon, did some chipping and putting on the golf course, and today I played the back nine. Tomorrow I'll play the front, and then Thursday will be the tournament.
Overall reaction to the course from today?
Yeah, course is great. I mean, in good shape. I think the areas around the green are extremely difficult to play out of. I think the golf course is going to play pretty tough this week, but it'll be a fun test. Yeah, I think the golf course is great. I mean, it's extremely challenging. I don't really think they have to do too much to trick it up with the way the greens are if they want the scores to be high, and so it should be a good test and a fun week.
Perfect. We'll go here on the left. Brian?
So you were out with Scottie, or you and Teddy were out yesterday, chipping and putting mostly. What are your thoughts about your plays around the greens and what you might be using and that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, a lot of the areas around the greens here are quite different, and a lot of it depends on the lies that you get. It's grainy Bermuda, and so if you get a good lie, you can be a little bit more creative with what you want to do. But if you have an iffy into the grain lie, it's you're a bit limited in what you can do around the green. And so really it depends on the lie, and then it depends how big of a slope there is that you're trying to get it back up onto the green. And a lot of it I think is going to be missing in the right spots, but there's certain holes out here where there isn't really a great miss. You just got to step up there and hit a great shot.
We're going to hear to Todd on the right.
Scottie, you have improved with your putting this year. Can you describe what was going on as you stood over a putt in your head, what you were thinking about before you started working with Phil, and what you think about now as you stand over the ball?
I mean, going now, I'm trying to get as visual as I can with what I'm trying to do. And, before I use the line on my ball, and so sometimes I'd be trying to match up the line on the back of the putter with the line on the ball. And I mean, at times I'd almost get a bit confused, and nowadays I feel like I'm getting much more visual with what I'm trying to do, and seeing kind of what I want the putt to do versus maybe playing a little bit of a guessing game before. And so I'm just putting the ball down and lining it up where I feel like it should be lined up, and then hitting the putt.
Back left, Doug.
Was Chambers or Oakmont your first Open?
Oakmont.
What of all the Opens you've played, what's the biggest lesson you've learned?
What's up?
About the Open.
About the U.S. Open?
Yes. Not the British.
Well, I think a lot of it's patience, and then there's certain areas of the golf courses where you can't really fake it. You just have to step up there and hit great golf shots. I mean, there's certain holes out here where, like especially some of the par threes, where there's not really a place where there's a good miss. It's just you better get up there and you just better hit it right where you're looking, or else you're going to be in big trouble. And a lot of that is just being committed to what you're doing. I can't really worry about where the ball's going to go, because I'm going to hit some really good shots this week that just don't work out, and you're going to make bogeys hitting good shots. That's just the nature of how difficult the golf course is. But what I appreciate about this kind of course is a lot of the areas around the greens are all fairway, and so, I mean, it may be extremely difficult shots, but there's always opportunity. Sometimes when there's heavy rough, there's not really much opportunity for a great shot, and so I appreciate more having the playability of the runoff areas more than heavy rough surrounding every green, and definitely provides a little bit more variety, a little bit more excitement, and a little bit more creativity around the greens. And I believe it's a better test than just having heavy rough over the back of every green. And so courses like this I think are a lot of fun to play.
We're going to go to Titus with the first tee here on the right.
Hello, my name's Titus. Question I'd like to ask is, last weekend when you triple bogeyed that hole, you seemed to stay a little bit calm. How did you keep from getting frustrated from your bad shots?
It's a good question. I was very frustrated, so I'm glad you couldn't tell. But I think I've learned over the course of my career to stay as patient as possible. And when I made a triple on that hole, I really didn't hit that bad of a shot. It just hit a tree and went out of bounds. And I kind of reminded myself that I was playing good golf, and as long as I kept a good head on my shoulders, I could continue to kind of go about my day, and was able to bounce back nicely. And I think that's something that you just learn playing more and more golf, that bad breaks are going to come, but it's more about your response to those things than really receiving the bad break. Just because, of course, of a 72-hole tournament, you're going to get plenty of bad breaks and hit plenty of bad shots. It's more about how I'm going to recover from those shots.
We're going to go on the left here, and then right in front of Brendan.
Hey, Scottie, a lot of players have come in here and said great things about you, and Xander even mentioned, the state of your game in his winner's press conference at the PGA. Have you heard any of that, and what does it mean to you to hear your fellow players say such things?
Well, yeah, I think it's nice to, hear a little bit of good things from my peers, because I think we all try to bust each other up a little bit at times when we're out there playing and competing, and I think that's part of just the friendship bond, is you want to mess with your buddies, and so to hear some compliments every now and then is definitely nice. And I always look back on being selected for my first Ryder Cup team, of kind of having the vote of some of the guys, and I wasn't really a proven player out here yet. I hadn't won on tour, and I got the vote of some of my peers to be on that team and was able to perform well. And so that's something that I always look back on. I'm very grateful for. I'm very grateful that those guys wanted me on that team, and I felt like it was a big moment in my career. And so I'm thankful to have a lot of the friendships that I have out here, and it's a joy to be out here playing with these guys and compete with them, and it's a lot of fun.
Left aisle, Brendan.
Hey, Scottie. When we think of coaches out here, I think many of us think of technical stuff and the swing and whatnot. But can you speak to what Randy gives you in terms of course strategy and kind of your actual plan, almost like X's and O's kind of?
Like X's and O's stuff?
In terms of like the actual course and your plan of attack as your swing.
I think as far as the actual course goes, a lot of that falls on Teddy. As far as Randy goes, Randy's back there kind of making sure that I'm working on the proper things going into the event, and he's not one really to overthink things, and he knows when to step in and when to kind of just let me go. And I think that's one of the most important things with the coach is, especially with Randy, is he can almost tell sometimes when I'm not really swinging at my best, and he'll step in. And then other times when I'm playing really well, he'll kind of just sit there and watch, and we'll hang out and have fun. And he's always done a good job of keeping things loose, because at times I think I take myself a bit too seriously when I'm out there practicing. And Randy's definitely not a guy that takes himself too seriously.
We're going to hear on the right.
Hey, Scottie. This is a bit of an oddball question, but we're working on a story about your technique, specifically how you shape your shots. Is there any one tip or technique you could give, like the average weekend duffer, on what you do to hone and drill that part of your game?
I think a lot of it is just trial and error, learning what shots work, or learning what shots don't. A lot of it goes back to my practice and preparation. Is when I hit a shot in a tournament, it's not a shot that I haven't hit before. I'm never trying something that I've never done. And so when it comes to putting in time and practice, I put time and effort into my form, and then I usually go right into hitting and creating shots. That's always a huge part of how I practice and prepare. And so when I'm out there on the golf course, I'm never trying to do something that I haven't done before. I can always look back and remember practicing that shot and hitting it on the range and hitting it under the gun, because it's something that I've done before. I'm never doing anything that is out of the ordinary to me, I don't feel like.
We're going to hear left corner, and then Sean Martin.
Scottie, Xander said after the PGA that some of the guys in your group text roasted you over what happened at Valhalla with you. And I don't know if you saw yesterday, a fan drove into a Louisville golf club with a fake policeman kind of dragging along his car. I just wondered, have you seen any of that stuff, and are you able to laugh about that sort of stuff now?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of hard not to laugh at the guy, who did that. But I didn't see any videos. Xander did tell me about it yesterday. He got a pretty good kick out of it. But yeah, I think that's part of just having good friends. If all they did was make fun of me, it'd be a bit different. It wouldn't be as fun. But they're great guys, and they're great friends, and so you got to be able to look in the mirror and laugh at yourself too. I mean, like I said, I don't love reliving it, but sometimes being able to laugh about it is a good skill too. And so when they make jokes, I mean, it's definitely hard not to laugh, especially with some of my good buddies. They're pretty funny with it.
Sean.
Is there a time during this run where Randy has stepped in and given a really good piece of advice that kind of has kept the good play going, or have you not needed much intervention?
No, I think Randy's really good at giving me kind of the right pieces of information. I remember after the first round at the Masters, I was not feeling good about my swing at all the first day. I felt like I was using all hands, and I was fortunate to shoot what I shot in the first round just based on how my swing was feeling. I remember going to the range after the first round and Randy was like, man, that was a great job, great round, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, listen, my swing felt pretty bad today. We need to figure this out. And about 5 minutes later, he gave me a little tip with my grip, and I hit a couple shots and felt exactly what I needed to feel. And then it was over from there. In my head, I felt what I needed to feel, and then I hit about 5 more balls, felt what I needed to feel, and then went out and continued to play. And so Randy's always been really good at not overthinking things and giving me a little piece of advice. And I mean, I mess around with him a lot, but he really is kind of a savant when it comes to the swing. He has such a good understanding of my swing and where I need to be. And so whenever I have a question, he usually is able to come up with a pretty good answer. And if not, then we can go to a little bit of trial and error. But sometimes he just nails it like he did that week. I'm not telling you.
Back left, Adam.
Hey, Scottie. How's it been compartmentalizing Scottie Scheffler, the golfer, and Scottie Scheffler, the dad, over the last little while?
You know, with some of the circumstances that have been going on around outside the golf course, it's been a bit more challenging. But, you know, overall, I feel like when I'm at home, you know, having Bennett around is almost easier to not be on my phone, not be watching TV. I just want to hang out with him and hang out with Mare. And, you know, rocking him to sleep puts me to sleep. And, yeah, being at home is fun. There's definitely no I haven't been bored at home in quite some time, that's for sure. And so time is always filled, and it's filled with great things, you know, hanging out with my son and hanging out with my wife. And so that part of it has been really nice. But, yeah, some of the circumstances around the golf course have made it, I'd say, a bit more challenging.
Front to Brian.
Yeah, Scottie, how aggressive can you be here on this golf course, or is it mostly a defensive approach?
I think it's a mix because, like I said, there's certain holes out here where you have to just step up and hit a great shot. Like some of the par threes, Teddy and I are kind of walking around trying to figure out where you missed it to certain pins, and it's like, it's not really a good spot here. You better just hit it in the middle of the green and try and two-putt. And so there's a lot of that out here, and you know, I think it's kind of fun too, and there's not really any hazards on the golf course. It's not like we're hitting over ponds or your ball's rolling back into water or into bunkers you can't get up and down out of. I mean, there's definitely some areas where you're going to be extremely challenged, but I feel like there's always opportunity. Like, since it's fairway, there's opportunity for great shots, and you know, the landing area may be literally this big in order for you to hit a great shot, but there's always opportunity. And so I feel like you're never out of the hole, but you're also not too far away from making a huge number. So you really got to manage your way on the golf course and execute where you need to.
A few more. Front left, Jonathan.
Yeah, so your 5 wins this year. Players have done that in the past 10 years or 25 years. It's Tiger a couple times, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas. Have you talked with those guys about handling what this kind of run, or is it something y'all don't discuss as friends and colleagues?
Yeah, I haven't really discussed that with anybody. You know, I try not to think about the past too much, and I try not to think about the future too much. You know, I just try and live in the present, and you know, sometimes it's easier and sometimes it's a bit harder. I feel like, you know, coming off after last week, you know, I was really excited and celebrated for a few minutes there, but then, you know, my mind kind of just goes on to the next thing. You know, I was getting ready, you know, trying to get out of there and get ready to prep here for next week. And so I'm not thinking about my wins anymore. All I'm focused on is this week and getting ready to play. Just because I won last week doesn't give me any shots against the field this week. We all started even par, and yeah, the field is level again starting on Thursday. So last week doesn't really matter.
Back left, back to Doug.
Great. I had a question about the past. If you went back, Scottie, a couple years, couple months to when you first started winning, can you recall a time where you first felt that there was a target on your back like there is now, and is that something you had to learn how to deal with?
I still don't feel like there's much of a target on my back. You know, like I said, when we start the tournament week, we're all at even par, and it's not like anybody's out there playing defense. You know, like when I play with Xander and Rory here at Thursday and Friday, they're not going to be saying weird stuff to me out on the golf course or trying to, you know, block my putt from going in the hole. We all kind of got to go out there and play our game. And so, I mean, as far as a target on my back, even if there's not really much that we can do in the game of golf. You know, most of it is against the golf course and playing against yourself. So target on my back I don't really feel it, and then I don't really think about it much, but yeah.
2 more, center aisle, and then Amelia.
Scottie, just wondering, how does it feel to be, like, by far the best golfer in the world?
I guess it's kind of going to be the same answer as the last one. I try not to think about the past. I try not to think about the future. You know, I try to live in the present. That's how I've always been. You know, I try to be present where I am. You know, when I'm at home, I try to be the best husband and father I can be. And when I'm out here, I'm trying to be the best golfer that I can be. And, you know, I try to give my best to each and everything that I do. And whether that's working out in the gym, practicing out here, getting ready for a tournament, practicing at home, or spending time at home with my friends and family, I try not to overthink things. I try to just live one moment at a time and soak it all up, because, you know, you never really know how long it's going to last. And, you know, just try and soak up the good times when you can and, you know, fight through the bad.
Last question on the right, Amelia.
Scottie, in hindsight, it can be easier to talk about how important patience is on a difficult golf course, but when you're in the tournament mode, in the setting, what is the inner dialogue when a shot doesn't go your way or you hit a shot and it rolls off? What are you telling yourself to try and reset for the next shot?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because a lot of the stuff that we all talk about is much easier said than done. It's very easy to step up there and say, hey, just be committed to your shot, but it's a lot more difficult when you're just bogeyed the first 2 holes and you're sitting there with a 9-iron and you're playing 30 feet away from a pin, and it's a pin you can't attack, but it's a 9-iron. You're like, oh, I can get one back here, and you try and force it, and then all of a sudden things just get out of hand. And so I always try to remind myself of just being committed to what I can control, and I'm not worried about the results out there. I try to do my best to execute the shot, and like I said, over the course of a 72-hole tournament, I'm going to get plenty of good breaks and plenty of bad ones, and it's all about responding to the bad and kind of rolling with the good, and doing my best to just control what I can control and execute.
Appreciate it, Scottie. Best of luck this week.
All right, thanks, y'all.